I am amazed at how little we cover personal finance throughout our schooling system, right? From an early age, even to latter college years, right? We really don't cover in depth a lot of the very, very important finance topics, right? That will affect your livelihood and even your lifestyle, even your life, right? So that being said, that was the reason why we decided to create this channel. I am a brand new creator of content to YouTube, right? In this channel, we will be covering a range of topics ranging from personal finance to real estate, to current affairs as it pertains to these two topics. A little bit about me, I am a real estate investor. I have been for the last 10 years. I own a wide variety of rental properties, ranging from single family residential properties to multifamily. I operate these two segments as short-term rentals and long-term rentals. Regarding personal finance, to get started, again, I'm just very overwhelmed as to how little education we get for something that's so important, within our lives, right? Ranging from personal credit, right? Whenever you want to go and get your first credit card, you want to buy your first car, you want to buy your first house, right? Not knowing the ins and outs of finance as it relates to these, what seem to be overcomplicated but simplistic things, again, will have a very long lasting impact in your lifestyle, your money, and even your life. So getting started with personal credit, right? Making sure that you get started on the right foot. I think a lot of these finance issues or virtues, depending on how you deal with this, are a little bit of a domino effect, right? So if you mess up the first thing, it's going to be a trickle down effect, throughout, right? So I think it really starts with your credit score. If you're 18 or if you're 40, it's really viewed the same way from the credit gods as commonly referred to by other creators. Making sure that you have a good credit score is very, very, very important. In the United States, there is a free credit report, which a lot of people don't know about. It's by law, right? You're entitled to one free credit report a year. You can go on Google and search this out just to see where you stand, right? The second thing that I see that's very interesting is people don't shop around for credit, right? Which astonishes me beyond belief. Going into your first car purchase, for example, right? Getting that, nice car that you've always wanted to get, or the pre-owned, or whatever the case might be, and you're sitting in front of the salesman and they pass over a piece of paper, right, that's just asking for your signature. Again, I'm astonished as to how people quickly just sign and they don't even shop around for credit, right? Not shopping around for credit will cost you hundreds, thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars throughout, your life, depending on what exactly it is that you're buying, right? Again, this ties into your credit score. So even if you do shop around, it's very important that you have a good credit score, like I said, with a domino effect, right? Now, if you're at a point where, things happen, you were young, crazy, and, your credit score is not where you need it to be, that's okay, right? You can still refinance your credit for your car, for your home, and for other different things, at a later point in time. But again, it's very important that you do get that snapshot of understanding where exactly do I stand, where do I want to be, and how can I get there, right? And after you are able to refinance your credit, there will be, again, a very positive future outlook once you get control of your finances, right? And I would even say that before your credit score, your personal finances are extremely important, right? Knowing how much money's coming in, knowing where the money's going out, right? Having some sort of basic budget, which again is something that I don't understand why it's not covered, right? Personal budgeting from an educational standpoint, right? Then you can go into your savings, right? Which I'll talk to in other videos about automating your savings, right? Having the piggy bank, as we like to call it, right? Of not having your savings within reach, because that's just a bad recipe for disaster, right? And at the end of the day, once you have all of that straightened out, there's several different ways that you can go into investing that, again, there will be a proven track record of success, right? That will allow you to achieve your personal finance goals and even financial freedom at some point. We'll be covering real estate as it pertains to short-term rentals during the COVID-19 pandemic, right? So getting started, I think is very important to understand the difference between a long-term rental and a short-term rental. There's key distinctions, right, that will set both of these apart depending on what exactly it is that you're looking to do, right? So a long-term rental, just to set the stage, is a traditional rental. It's a 12-month lease, right? Payments are consistent every single month, right? And at the end of the day, really, there is no way that the owner can actually use the property. It's practically set for those 12 months. months. There's a perceived notion that that's safer in some points in comparison to short-term rentals. Short-term rentals, on the other hand, they're commonly referred to as short-term rentals, vacation rentals, or even Airbnbs. Right? Terminology seems to be interchangeable. It's really not. There's differences between those. But just getting into the short-term rental phase, the difference between this from a financial perspective is that you're able to capitalize on the demand, right? Which in layman's terms practically just means that if you have a high demand in the area for a football game, soccer game, convention, right? Or people are just traveling for vacations and you're in a really touristy area, you're able to increase the pricing similar to a hotel, and your financial return most of the time is going to be a lot greater than a long-term rental, right? So this is one of the reasons why people are able to compare. Now, if you own a secondary house, a vacation house, a cabin, a beach house, or something of the style, and you're still looking to use it every once in a while, but the rest of the year is practically empty, that's a great candidate for a short-term rental, vacation rental property, right? You're able to get a rental income, right? And you're still able to utilize your property at the times that you desire. Now, there's a perceived higher risk of short-term rentals in comparison to long-term rentals as it relates to parties or damage or anything of the sort. Just to keep things apples to apples, it's very important to note that a long-term rental will have a similar risk to a short-term rental in damages. And again, it's offset by the increase in revenue, right? So depending on the geography, the type of property, and how you market it, there's going to be different ways that you're able to make sure that you're able to mitigate some of those risks. We'll be covering that in later videos. And one of the interesting things that we're seeing right now is a change in the palette of the consumers, if we like to say it that way, right? So particularly within the industry, hotels have taken a huge beating, not as strong as cruises really at this point, that have had a horrible time during the COVID-19 pandemic. We're still seeing a lot of people work from home, right? So we're having people from the Northeast coast, for example, that the offices sent everyone to work from home. They're starting to come down to some of the beach houses or some of the cabin houses that we have and working from home with a different view, right? So there is definitely a change in the way that customers are spending their money. So as we look ahead within the industry itself, I'm a strong proponent, a strong believer that customer trends, are changing, right? But the fundamental necessities or the wants that the customers have are remaining the same, right? So from, wanting to buy something, they're not going out to malls. That's why retail is having a really tough time now. They're going online to Amazon or other e-commerce websites and still are buying things, right? People, they don't always want to eat at home, right? Or they don't want to eat home-cooked meals. So they're not going to restaurants anymore, but they're, buying through the food delivery applications, Uber Eats, so on and so forth. And they're still receiving things from restaurants, right? Now travel is a very interesting one, as I just mentioned. People are still traveling, but they're changing the way that they travel. They no longer want to stay in a hotel where they have to deal with the front desk, right? They don't want to deal with having to press the same button that 400 people in the hotel have pressed. They don't want to be dealing shared spaces. They don't want to be in a place, right, where the cleaners have cleaned 300 rooms before they got to theirs. So I think that the customer trend is changing to short-term rentals and vacation rentals on that end. So again, it's interesting to see how things change. I think a lot of these things are here to stay. Right? That being said, we will wrap up this series. We will be covering more of these topics throughout the next coming videos. If you guys like the content that is being pushed out, I would appreciate a thumbs up in the comments. We will be reading through the comments, right? So if there's any more content that you guys would like to see at this point, please make sure that you include that down below, and feel free to subscribe if you want to be notified of more of these videos.